Weird feeding the ducks tonight. I just wanted everyone to get the proper feel with two Centerville graduates, I don't want everyone, we get a bad rap, Kovac, and I've branched out, into different areas or whatever, and they're like, dude, all you guys do over there is go mudding and do that crap,
Oh,
what do you think of that?
We were at that clinic a week or two ago out in Osceola, and I name dropped a couple coaches and a couple guys, and Coach Kovacevich was one, Coach Matty, and I said, hey, Centerville's just not full of just all bad guys. I mean, there is some actually good people that come out of that town.
Yeah, I mean, it's even more fun to look back at. Man, I remember when you were coaching Seymour and I was coaching Wayne, and it didn't matter if, one of our teams was bad. We always met in districts, and it was always a one-run ball game.
Oh, yeah. Back then it was, it's always fun. You get in rivalry games like that. It doesn't matter how good or bad teams are. They always seem to rise to the occasion. And there's always good atmospheres, always good games. So always good times.
Yeah, 100%. I just want everyone to know that if you share this link, obviously, the coach show, we're going to have a good time tonight. Coach Kovacevich of Centerville, Iowa, and gives me an opportunity to dig in. Coach Doherty, he's got some work to do. I think some homework that he waited until the last minute. And you know what? Coach Ben Fry has joined us, and I'm going to bring him in. Here we go.
How we doing, Coach?
Hey, Coach.
How we doing?
Hey, we're doing great. Now you get to hang out with a bunch of Centervillians.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
I don't know a ton, but
yeah. Well, I will tell you that, Kovac, did you have a truck with big tires or not?
No, I was lucky to have a vehicle. My vehicle's all in high school when I ran around this town. Barely had floorboards. I could see the highway when I was driving. Now I did have big speakers in my vehicle.
Yeah,
you couldn't barely hear the speakers because of the muffler. No muffler, but I did always have good speakers and a good sound system in my crappy Buick Skylark, 1984 Buick Skylark.
That's a beautiful car, man. I can remember my first car was a 1985 Dodge Omni, pea green, ISU colors, used. Ben, you would have been amazed at that car. I don't know how many times that we went ditch running in that thing, and it still ran. I don't get it.
Well, I had a 1999 Thunderbird.
Oh, he's rich.
He's
rich.
Off the used car lot, it was pretty cheap, but it was a dark green. I thought it was cool. It had a V8 and everything, so yeah, it was pretty pumped. But I didn't, the sound system stuff didn't matter at all to me. So
yeah. Well, Kovac, I want to keep it light tonight because it's always awesome to be able to rub shoulders with you. I think next year. The Coach Show, Dog Pound Radio might be the podcast of that big outing you went to a couple weeks back.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, pretty excited about that. I think we only got it because, Ben Fry's so good looking.
I'm just happy to be here.
Anyway, the magic word tonight, guys, is, Loki. And if you are watching, if you're watching now, you probably have a better chance of maybe winning some merch tonight. So we'll throw that out there. So I'm going to go back. who was your favorite coach growing up, Kovac, and how did he or she kind of mold themselves into you, or not mold, right? Because we have good and bad qualities from them.
Yeah, it's a tough question. Had a lot of great ones in Centerville. A lot of great ones back in the late '90s. Coach Huseman was awesome. Obviously, Hall of Fame baseball coach, and he got the opportunity to coach us in basketball for a few years. I loved Coach Conrad, our football coach. Have his son on our staff now. Great human being. But I mean, I guess one thing that I would say, the reason why I think that I'm in coaching and teaching, is Coach Mad Dog, Coach Matty. I mentioned him last week or 2 weeks ago at that clinic. I don't know if I'd be where I am in my profession without him. He obviously, as a Centerville person, everybody kind of knows Coach Matty, and he was the art teacher. I think my junior and senior year, I spent half the time in his room. I had like 15 study halls. I think I never went to any other classes. I'd always find a way to make my way out to the art trailer. He taught me how to look at film, watch film. He taught me so many things about relationships with kids, and not just the X's and O's type of stuff, but just how to have relationships. And I think that's I've used that in all my years of coaching. Is I think not just knowing where an A gap is, but it's also understanding how that kid feels, and how do you get the best out of each kid on your team. Not only the best kid on your team, but also the kid that's running the water out to him at timeout. So he taught me so much of that stuff, and it's always a pleasure when I get to cross paths with him and talk to him and talk ball with him. So he was definitely a big mentor in my book.
I do want to give out condolences to the Maddie family, to Coach Mad Dog. Lost his wife here recently. And, she was kind of, like you go to Double R and get a tenderloin, right?
Yep.
She
was the person there. She was the person running the counter. And, she was a big part of going over to his house and being able to watch film or do whatever. There was always probably a sandwich on the table waiting for you. So, condolences. They just had, I believe, a visitation today, actually. And condolences out to Keenan and Jason and Coach Mad Dog.
And I remember her, just a kind of a funny story. Anytime that you use the F word, man, she'd kick you out of there. So anyway, Ben, you can't imagine me ever saying that anyway. You and I have spent a lot of time together here. So
Never in a million years would I ever guess that you would use that kind of language, Chuck. You're just too kind-hearted. I don't even know if you know how to say that word. So
I think that's my brother John was the reason why, Kovac, that's been drilled into my freaking melon.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned John, because yesterday just got done I golfed in a golf tournament, and the group right behind me was John. And I bet I heard that same F-bomb 40 times throughout the 4-6 hours of play. And he kept everything really lighthearted, even though I played like crap. But he kept everything really, really lighthearted throughout the day and throughout the round, and even after the round. So shout out to John for keeping everything. And yeah, there was an F-bomb used once or twice on the golf course yesterday.
I just hope there were enough porta potties to take care of him.
No, now there isn't.
Oh God.
There's plenty of trees.
Yeah, dude, Coach Fry, I won't talk about the situation, but maybe one of these days I will. But especially when I retire and this becomes a little bit more risque of a show. But anyway, it's good. Ben, do you want to ask Kovac a question? I've got dozens, man.
Yeah, just kind of starting out. One, what's your core philosophy? As a coach, and then how has that philosophy, if it has, evolved over the course of your career?
Yeah, it's another great question. We have always built. The good thing about Centerville football is we've had about the same coaching staff for, this is going on year 9, and we've only had a couple turnovers. So the kids, the community, they kind of understand what understands to be a Big Red football player. And it's always been, football's going to be fun. That's our philosophy, is making football fun. Football's under attack with, especially in the last few years with all the injuries and everything going on in the game. A lot of, you look around at a lot of schools in Iowa, you have teams not fielding a team or you have low numbers. We're pretty prideful down here. We have 60 kids out pretty much every single year, so that's really good. But we've always kind of made football fun, and I think that's really taken off in the community of they know that when they come to practice, they know what's going to be expected of them. They know hard work is going to have to be thrown in there, and they don't. And at the end of the day, we are probably going. Well, we play the best players. I mean, it's not a situation where we glad hand people. It doesn't matter what your name is. The best players will play in that roster for that year. So that might come into roster turnover from year to year. But I think if you come in the summer and if you work hard, especially early on in your career as a freshman, sophomore, coming up through the ranks, and you put the time in, you'll eventually get the time on the field. And we were talking about it the other day is, man, I don't know if we've had very many kids that come in as a senior and just didn't get the play time if they put in the time and all the hard work that it takes to be a Big Red football player. So, I think that's probably in the relationships. I mean, obviously we do a thing at the end of when they do the Big Red walk across across Paul Johnson Field for the last senior game. It's always an emotional time, and you can really feel it that night as, man, it's coming to an end for these group. You've been around these kids for 4 years now, and you've seen them become little boys to men that have put the work in. So we build relationships like no other. The other thing is all of our coaches coach pretty much everything in the school district. So in the fall, we're all coaching. In the winter, we're all coaching. In the spring. So all of our coaches are always coaching all of our guys. So all of our coaches do a really good job, not only with the X's and O's and getting in arguments at meetings and telling me who's going to cover the option or whatever. We always
Who's got pitch man.
We always understand the main thing is I don't care about that is when we get to practice, you might have had a crappy day during the school day, but when we get to practice, it's a new day, it's a new time, and we're gonna make it fun. We're gonna build relationships with kids. We're gonna ask them questions. We're gonna ask you how your day went, what'd you eat for dinner, all those stupid questions that coaches ask for. So relationships are huge, and then making football fun is the big one for us.
Well, I will tell you that you can make football fun. A couple years ago, you'd come over to Fort Madison, and I remember my cousin went down. I don't know, a concussion there. I think it was it the midway second quarter?
Yeah, I think so, because we got to make some adjustments at halftime a little bit with the new quarterback.
So anyway, so he gets hurt, and then this freshman comes in, Coach Fry, that was just freaking unbelievable. And I kind of looked and I said, this was our Barry Sanders moment. Oklahoma State had Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders, and there were teams that said, don't get Thurman Thomas hurt because we don't want to see Barry. And we saw Barry that night, man. And this quarterback is getting looks, at the D1 AA level. Coach Kovacevich, we talked a little bit that, it's really weird to have a D1 quarterback in Centerville, Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so few and far between.
Yeah, it's a new. Obviously, I'm in new territory when it comes to when it comes to getting this kid and getting him recruited the right way, because he's pretty special. I mean, you're right. That back when he was a freshman, he came in and took the reins in that particular game, and we kind of never looked back. We kind of went to a completely different kind of an offensive philosophy. With back in the day, we were heavy run game with the quarterback, and we've kind of went the other way with having a guy back there, and we went to throwing it just a little bit more, not so much run pass, being the numbers are probably the same, but probably less of the quarterback run game and more just the traditional handing it off to your running back. But this kid he can make the throws. He can. He's a gym rat, man. He is in my classroom every day. We go over stuff. We're already looking at things, and Mac is he's pretty special. So we got to do a good job of making sure, steering him in the right direction of making sure post high school he's in the right spot, and at the same time making our team as best as we can be. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch him grow up, and it's fun watching him make other people around him a lot better. So he's going to be fun to watch.
When I was a pretty young coach, I had a D1 kid, Cassandra Dar. She ended up pitching, with the University of Wisconsin. Seeing a D1 kid in action like that is truly unbelievable. And as a young coach, man, I had a hard time coaching her because I was like, what am I going to do to improve her? So here's the question, Coach Kovac. What can you do, not only with yourself, but with your staff, to make sure that, man, he's going higher than that? I'm sure his goals are much higher than that as well.
Yeah, it's really it's all fun. I mean, it's all really, it's not, we just allow him to be him. We allow him to look at the game plan. We allow him to look at the offense. It runs through him what he likes, what he doesn't, because I'm not the one that sits there and when we put the game plan together and this is what we're going to do, and this is not just for him, but I mean, it's everybody. When we put a game plan together, it's what do you think? I mean, what do you think? Because we're not here to sit here and think that we're going to be the best coaches X's and O's wise. We want player input. We want other coaches input. And, it's making sure he understands what it's going to be to take to get to that level. Now, he's got a great support staff. His dad is awesome, former coach. He's always does a great job of making sure he's in shape, doing all those other good things. He throws, like I said, the kid is down at the field all the time, making our wide receivers and making everybody better of doing the things, running the routes. So it's basically, hey, Coach Kovac, don't screw this up kind of deal. It's let him do what he wants to do. And then at that time saying, hey, now the other hand, there's been times where I've had to get on him and chew on him a little bit for making a few decisions.
Oh, Coach Kovac wouldn't chew on you.
Well, just once or twice maybe. But,
okay.
There's a few times where I've had to get on him. And the great thing about it is he took it. He's not one of those kids that are going to run to and say, oh my God, woe is me type of thing. He would come off the field many times last year and say, yeah, that was on me. That's on me. That was on me. And there was a lot of times he'd come off and then say, Kovac, I think we should probably look at this. And I'd say, I think you're right. So we have a really good relationship, the back and forth, and that's happened now for 9 years. Some of the really, really good players that we've had, and even some of the not so ones. The relationship building portion of everything is so huge of the get along and going in at halftime and seeing what can we do, what things are going well in the off season, what things are we going to do in the weight room that's going to make us a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, and all those things is just continuing to get him in the right direction. And the recruiting portion of it is completely, I've never, it's kind of, we've had a lot
Are you personally getting like text messages? Hey man, we can give you $35,000 for these cheeseburgers.
Not yet, but I wouldn't doubt if that comes at some point comes down the road, but not yet. But only when Oklahoma calls when I'll start feeling those calls. But that's a whole other story. But I would say it's a whole different, as a coach, when if the Iowa staff calls and they're like, I just want to make sure I don't say something stupid. I just want to make sure that they tell them all the right things. And, all those other schools that come down and have called and been intrigued by Mac. And so, we're just trying to, trying to get him into the right direction and make sure that he makes the right decision for him and for what he can be in successful post high school.
All right, Coach Fry, I'm spamming the world. So you got the mic.
No, you're good. I kind of want to touch on a couple things. So, you kind of mentioned all your coaches coach other things in the district, and you kind of mentioned in your last answer something about off season. And so, we as coaches understand, and this is maybe where some of the community and parents don't, like the state of Iowa, when it comes to football prep in the off season, limits us, pretty heavily as opposed to some other sports with, all the different leagues and travel and all that kind of stuff that they can do. Football's really limited that way. So when you're talking off-season prep and what you're doing, like you talked about meeting with your quarterback in your classroom and you talked about the weight room, like what else are you guys doing besides, building those relationships in all these other sports that just kind of give you a little bit more of an edge? And I know, right, you're still limited, so there's not a whole lot you can do, but like something that you think sets you guys apart. I mean, you guys saying that the coaches coach everything kind of, already sets you apart a little bit, but is there anything else that you think adds a little bit to it?
I got to jump in just before he talks there because I'm only 25 years old and I coached at Centerville, so you can see.
Yeah, it's We start immediately. We'll start with summer weightlifting on June 1st, right when school gets out, and we'll bring all the kids in and we bring them in, and just to go back to it, that's one thing that years ago was always a struggle of getting the kids to get there in the summer. That here the last few years has not been really an issue at all. The kids that come in are we probably get, I don't know what the numbers are, probably 80% of our roster come next fall will be in there in the summer. We do have some kids that'll leave for the summer. We'll have some kids they're heavy in baseball and that don't want to do a lot of stuff in the summer conditioning portion, but not a lot. But we bring them in the morning. We lift. We bring them in at 6:30. We go from 6:30 to 8. And the reason why is because a lot of Southern Iowa, Centerville kids have jobs. They can't make it. They go to Bratz. They go up to the local Hy-Vee, or they have to go work because they've got to make money. That's one thing. And I always lift early in the morning, so we're done pretty much with everything at 8 o'clock, unless the kids want to go down and have some skill days and go down to the field and work out with different coaches. But we're done. We lift half the time, and then we just incorporated here the last couple years with Coach Conrad, Coach Reed, and our track guys, speed and agility. So we do some weights in the morning, our main lifts and some auxiliaries, and then we go right into speed and agility. And it's really, really helped us the last couple years in the speed category. For years, we were strong, we were good, but we weren't flexible. We weren't the all-around athlete. We were never going to be fast. I don't know if I've ever looked down and said, man, our team is fast. We don't have a lot of those guys. We're good in some of that, but we're not lightning fast, but we're getting better. So we do that, and that's really incorporated a lot of things. And then we'll go maybe once or twice a week. We'll bring the whole team down, but usually on Thursday mornings, and we'll do a circuit training down to the field. And then after that, we'll do some installation with some things that are player driven when it comes to with installations, that anything new going into this year, if we're doing any kind of new run schemes, any new pass schemes, any new defensive stuff, fronts or anything like that. That'll be a big installation portion come June and July. And then when August hits, we go over and play in a team camp in Creston. We're going to do some 7-on-7s this summer. So we keep busy. The kids understand it. They need to be there. We take attendance, but we really don't take attendance. But we understand who shows up and who wants to get better. And I think that's one of the big things that kind of, I don't know what other schools do a lot. I know a lot of the bigger schools they're in pads day one and they're practicing. I don't know how they get away with some of that stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But they're going after it. I don't want to do that because, one, we're a big baseball school. Baseball's a pretty good tradition around here, and I don't want to overdo my baseball kids to have them go to Osceola and a varsity double and then come back and then have to, So we work together really well within the coaching staff, within the building, of understanding what needs to not overdo a kid, and God forbid, knock on wood, somebody doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, I'm telling you, baseball. I'm just going to throw that out there. No, I'm teasing, Ben. I'm teasing. I promise I am. All right. So, what's one play that you wish you could run every single game? I'm sure it's buck sweep.
Now that would be Coach Baloma's. Coach Baloma he's our offensive coordinator. He's a big buck sweep. He loves that. He's always trying to get it in my ear to keep that in the game plan. I love counter. I love GT. Yeah. I love GY. It was a big Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. They loved running some of that stuff. And when that play works and it looks great, there's nothing prettier. A lot of people love power. Everybody loves power. Everybody loves power. But I love a good counter. I love GT. I love when that just opens up like that. Even the quarterback, when we were running some of that stuff, if I could run it every time, I would run that a lot.
What used to piss me off as a head coach and a defensive coordinator going up against you was you'd get in like this, I don't know, shotgun 3-back crap, and you'd still pass. Dude. Yeah,
I mean, we're really, really we like to be expensive with some of our formations. We like to have a lot of multiple formations to give the defensive guy to take a look at, and where you're going to line up and how you're going to line up to it. But at the end of the day, it's still the same 3 probably or 4 running schemes. It's probably 3 or 4 different pass schemes, but we want to give you a different look every time we come out. And then, then the option of going fast is always there for our offense. We look like we go fast because we don't huddle, which is
it because of Meerkat?
Talk about.
Is it the Meerkat?
No, we don't. Yeah, no, we don't. I mean, we don't get crazy like that, but I mean, we don't get. It's just we give you different little different things, little nuggets. We always want to put in something new, a little bit new wrinkle that's probably coming off one of those schemes, whether it be a screen or whether it be something that maybe those coaches have seen the week before. We always come in with something new throughout the next week of just kind of expanding on that particular scheme, whether it be run or pass.
Is that like your cards? I remember seeing Bruce Freevert's face one time on your card. I didn't quite understand it, but I think you scored a touchdown every time you freaking pointed at it.
Yeah, those, back to, a few years ago, everybody was doing those with those big play cards. We took it and we did it. So we have some stuff on them. We with the kids, actually the crowd gets a kick out of it because shoot, my daughter's on one of them and she always likes to see her picture on there. And we have the universities that we like on there, where we like to eat or something. So we put new things on there every year. And we always, coming into a game, we'll have different things incorporated with that particular card on there, whether it be top square, right square, bottom. So we do some things, tinkering around with it. It's more of eye candy, if anything.
Absolutely. All right, Ben. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't mean to take over, man.
No. You're good because you started talking about those play cards, and I was like, we had those when I was at Sadell, and it was literally eye candy. Like, there was almost nothing getting communicated through the cards. It was just stuff that draws attention away from certain other things. But
one thing that we do use them for, especially if depending on where the huddle camera is, if they try to just hide them from someone, because we do a lot of signaling from the sideline. So we kind of try to keep them in front of the camera, just so you don't get somebody trying to take a look at some stuff.
100%. Yeah, that's what we were doing as well. But as an offensive guy, playing in a primarily power eye run style offense, and then becoming a coach and really falling in love with the spread style stuff, and now running no huddle. Like, when did you guys kind of get away from that traditional style of football, or when did you as a coach get away from that traditional style of football and move more towards the up tempo, no huddle kind of stuff that you're seeing on Saturdays now? So
yeah, we do. Ever since that 9 years now, Coach Bellomo's been the offensive coordinator he's always been the offense. I did some play calling last year offensively for us, and then we've always been spread. We've always been in spread with the ability to play with the tight end. Just like we always talk about, I would love to play with a tight end every single play, but again, we sometimes have trouble to find 5 really, really good linemen, and then you throw out the other lineman out there. So that's we would love to play with the tight end, because it's a rip for defensive guys to have to cover that extra gap. So if we could find one, we would play one. But like I said earlier, we were a lot giving the ball to our best athlete at the quarterback position and having him run off of everything that we do. But we've kind of went with this the last year or two now. We went to more of a traditional power, you're giving the ball, just handing the ball off and not running the quarterback near as much as what we had to. But I love it. I mean, I think it all evolves. I think eventually you'll see teams, everybody comes back, everybody still runs the I stuff. It's just they don't have a fullback. The H-back is the fullback now. So it's everything evolves to something else. You'll see more of I think you see a lot more double tight. You see a lot more of that stuff sprinkled in college football now, leaving in pros, where you're playing with multiple tight ends. So if we could do that, we would. But we like where we're at. We like what we do. But it'll all evolve, and eventually, someday you'll probably come back, and the guys will be under center.
Yeah. You hear that, Chuck? You're going to get the flex bone again someday.
Flex bone, baby. No. Anyway, it's
seriously, that's the other thing. We play on our schedule literally 1 or 2 teams that only run spread. I mean, it's completely evolving. We play, you guys see Fairfield. We see Fairfield. We've played Sigourney back in the day. We've played
spin back.
We've played some of these teams that are back to double tight high school football, and you giving the ball off and doing a lot of those things. We do not see PCM. PCM would get you how great they are. They'll tell you where they're going to run it. They don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they are, and that's who they're going to be. So, like I said, it's all evolving. When everybody thought, oh my gosh, we're going to go shotgun and we're going to go spread you out, it's coming back around where a lot more teams are going back under center and doing some of that stuff.
Well, it's wild too. You think back to when 8-player really got going. Everybody was like, well, there's no safeties on the field. We're going to go spread and throw the ball all over the place. And now you watch like an 8-player game, and they're 2 tight ends, so it's 5 linemen, and they're just running power right at you, single play. It's wild to see how things evolve. Yeah,
I think you just have to watch in high school football. We'd love to keep it simple, but there has been times where we've put in and had too much on our plate, and in the book where we've obviously our coaches, we get in the room and we're like, dude, it's high school football. You don't need to make it this hard. Because you guys are all the same too. We get on Twitter. We see everything that's on Twitter. We see everything that you go to these clinics. You put on a tape on Saturday and teams run this. Well, we can do that. We can run that. And then you get out there and like, oh my God, this looks absolutely horrific. What were we thinking? Let's just go back to pound. Let's just go back to who we are. So I think it all evolves again around to it's high school football. Keep it simple for kids to understand the blocking assignments and the pass routes and all the easy stuff to read.
Is Sheraton back to the Lee Sandy counter and power, or are they spreading it out?
They do a little bit of both. I mean, they're another school that does a great. Those guys have been together forever. They want to run the ball. I mean, at the end of the day, they are who they are. What Sheraton's always been. They want to get up and just maul you and come downhill at you and get after it. And they're so well coached. Coach Smize over there, Smizer does an awesome job and great kids, great athletes. It's always a dogfight when we get together and play those guys. You're going to have to play well, not turn it over, not have penalties against them. They don't make a lot of mistakes, so it's always a fun tilt when we play Sheraton.
Rivalries, man, and Centerville's got a lot of them. Fort Madison's got one every week. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to look at that. But we used to look at our rivals. It was Davis County, Albia, Sheraton, Pella. Okay. We only beat Pella once. I don't even know why they were a freaking rival, but you know what I'm saying.
They didn't think we were a rival, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, we thought we were Billy Badasses back in the 1990. Went up there and it was 40-8, right? Not us, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Rivalries are great.
Who's your biggest rival now?
Oh, things would probably. I mean, when I took over, I kind of wanted it to be Albia. I just thought we needed to have a game on the schedule where the kids got up for it. And I embellish way more than I probably need to about the rivalry that is Albia and the Battle of Highway 5. So, I play it up a little bit, but I think kids need that. I think kids need to understand that they need to have a rivalry a little bit because those games are so fun. I mean, it doesn't matter. I always say it. It doesn't matter if it's a Friday night football game or if it's a Tuesday night checkers game. People are going to be pissed off at each other before and after the game. So, I mean, it's fun. Davis County, yep, it's another big rivalry for us that it doesn't matter how good those teams are in any sport. Like I said, it doesn't matter if Davis County's got a really good softball team or if Albia's got a really good basketball team. When those two student sections kind of get together and the two towns come together, because nowadays everybody knows everybody. Like back in the day, Chuck, when we played those schools, we didn't know. I mean, if they might have came down to the square, and you're like, get the hell off our square. Now these guys are going. We were at prom last night, and half the Albia team was out there at our prom. I thought, I was like, what the hell's going on? Why are all these guys at our prom? So it is. These kids, they know each other through social media where I don't know how much rivalries. It's not like I don't think it was the hatred, I should say. Maybe hatred's a strong word, but maybe I don't think they don't understand it like we probably understand it back in the day when a kid would come down from Albia or Davis County on our square trying to drive around with our girls that went to Centerville, we'd get pissed off, right? So, I mean, now nobody gives a crap about it. So it's kind of neat how that has all kind of evolved of how rivalry games work.
Yeah. So like you said, social media has played a huge factor in that. And yeah, like the kids know everybody. I mean, you're saying, yeah, you see a kid from Albia driving around, your town. You're like, what the heck's that guy doing here? As high school athletes back in the day, it was like, we knew who names were. Yeah. We didn't know about what they did in their free time, anything like that. So you just grew up kind of with this dislike of that person because they wore a different color uniform, not because of anything they did personally, just that's what it was like.
Yeah,
Dude, it was so bad on the square that people from Seymour, Moravia, Moulton, I mean, we didn't like anybody.
sure, absolutely, and that's I mean, yeah, it would be that's how it was. It's just not like that anymore, and good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, it is what it is, but it's fun for the kids. Those games are fun to get after it, and you play it up just a little bit with them, and like it doesn't take much. That week, I don't have to give any Newt Rockneys that week or anything pregame or leading up to that game. Kids pretty much understand. They know, and so do they. The other town knows it as well. I mean, they want to play their best game against us, and we want to play our best game against those rivalry teams.
I'm going to ask you a question here. What's a mistake you made early in your career that changed how you coach today?
Yeah, that's an easy one, Chuck. I thought when I came out and started coaching varsity sports, I thought I could win every single game. And I found out really, really quick at Seymour that wasn't happening. Right? So I really got frustrated with the kids. I would get frustrated with myself. I sometimes got frustrated with officials and referees.
Never Kovac.
The more that I have grown, I've figured, hey, it's high school sports. Things are good. Now, at the same time, I don't and a lot of the other coaches that have coached with me, or a lot of people around the community, I don't get near as worked up as I would have 10, 15 years ago when it came to coaching these kids. I will at times still, but I don't. But just having that understanding is you thought you were really going to be Coach K. You thought you were going to be, Nick Saban. It doesn't matter what coach I was or what sport I was coaching. You always thought I was going to out X and O the next person across the sidelines or across the court. And I found out real quick, hey man, you got to have some dudes to be able to do that, and you got to develop. And I thought that, I'm not going to worry about, the youth programs. It doesn't matter what happens when they get up to me. I'll be able to be better than what the youth coaches were. And I found out that doesn't happen either. Everybody's got to be coached. Everybody's got to be on board. And just learning how to do that has really made me, I think, not a better coach, maybe, I guess, but maybe some people wouldn't think so. But I think it's just made me more of a understanding the big picture of high school athletics.
Looking back, because I was kind of a hard ass, my players will tell you that. They'll say that I loved you, that I'd do anything for you, but I'm going to be, spouting off. And, looking back, I wish I could have, taken a little bit less Chuck Banks and more my players, because, we only envision as a coach through our eyes. We don't see it through the athlete's eyes. And I wish as a coach, I could have done that much earlier in my career.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, as I coach basketball, I remember early on when I was coaching basketball, I was like, well, how could you not make that layup? I would have done that easy. You think in your mind, I could have done some of those things. And you're like, well, no, it's a different player. It's a different atmosphere. You're not 16 anymore, man. You've got to be able to understand you're coaching 16 and 17-year-old kids that don't know sick'em about a lot. So it is what it is.
And one more thing. Sorry, Ben, I don't mean to jump in so much tonight, but also looking back, kids don't give a shit what happened 10 years ago. They don't care that you've made the playoffs, you know what I mean, 5 times or, once as a head coach. They don't care. They only care about what's right now. How do we foster that, especially us old school ego-driven coaches, right?
It's a great comment, because we do it a lot down here, because I reference that 09 Centerville team a lot.
They were good.
As probably the best, arguably, I mean, back in the day, people can argue, but arguably that was the best Centerville team that we've ever seen come out onto the field. So we reference it, man. I bring it up all the damn time, and the kids probably get sick of me telling about, man, this is where we're at, man. We could make it just as far as the 09 team, or we talk about it. The kids, I've had players from that team come and speak with our guys in the past years. So we talk about that team a lot, and I don't know if they don't know their legacy yet. I kind of had an idea of it back in the day. I mean, I I wanted to be in the Hall of Fame. That's why I was doing it, man. That's why I wanted to play. I wanted to do things, and I wanted to kind of leave a legacy of people remembered. Hey, man, I remember that Kovacevich kid. And I don't know.
How many tackles did you have in a game? Was it like 25?
Yeah, whatever it was. They probably something like that. It doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't. It was just, it's just not. Our kids don't understand. I mean, I even talk about, I coach girls golf over here, and we do really well. We've done really well in the past 10 years. And I tell them, man, that's when you go into our gym at Lakeview, there's only green banners that are up there. So, I mean, that's girls golf. I mean, be proud about that. You should be proud of what you've done. And it's the same thing with the football portion of it, man. When you come back for your 25, 15, 10, or whatever union, you're going to be making memories right now. So you got to have those memories to talk about back and when you come back on those homecoming days. And that's why making football fun is huge. I mean, I name drop left and right all the time to our kids. And I don't know if they understand, what, even 2022, when we played Williamsburg, one game away from the Dome, I reference that team all the time. Those kids had no, it wasn't like they were the 85 Bears. I mean, they had no business being in that game, but we did.
Dude.
We made it. We got there.
Dude, I've got to jump in because, I can remember we played that school, Monticello. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they just waxed us. And I looked at them on tape, Coach Fry, and I thought, oh, my God, we're going to, you know what I mean? Because I just thought we could beat everybody's butt, But anyway, we lose. Centerville goes up there. Holy crap, Coach Kovacevich.
What a game.
A missed extra point.
Yeah, what a game. Down 21-0 in the first half. Had no business probably, but you get a couple stops. You get a couple plays that go our way. You look up and you got a ball game, and then you get the stop at the end. It was one of those games that we'll never forget down here. Those kids, a lot of the community maybe won't. I mean, you'll never remember that game, but I know that's what we bring back to our kids is you're going to make memories. That memory of walking off that field that night of beating that team was just unreal, and the jubilation of everybody was awesome.
And, we had to play the Wetchen team earlier in the year, but you had to play them 2 times in 4 weeks.
Yeah, we played them twice and both times up there.
Yeah.
And we definitely got their attention. Obviously, the way better team than we were.
Kid was fast.
We played them in that quarterfinal game. It was 30 degrees, raining sideways, and for the first half, we go in at halftime, and it's a 1 or 2 score game, and it's a ball game. And then at the end of the day, like usually what happens in high school sports, the better team comes out and the cream rises to the top, in which they did. They made the plays, we didn't, and but you can walk off the field hanging your head up high that you did what you did. And again, that team maybe not was any better than last year's team or any better than some of the other teams that we've gone. They came together, and that's kind of where the "we is greater than me" motto that we've done here the last few years is all about. Not one of those kids on that team gave 2 shits about scoring touchdowns, yards, who got the accolades. All they wanted to do is try to find a way to win, and that's, as a coach, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and I just want to point, like you talking about, the kids don't care about what happened 10 years. Like, I think the key right there is the word reference. Like you reference those teams. You don't live in that mentality anymore. I think that's the difference in we can reference and set a bar to reach the same level as that group, but I'm not expecting you to ever be that group. I don't care if you ever knew who that group was, whatever, but that referencing is, I think, the key point there. You can't live in the past. You can reference it. It's all that kind of stuff, but this is a completely different group of kids. It's a completely different team, and they don't care what happened even 3 years ago. They care about what's coming. And so that's huge. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we reference it. We talk about it all the time. When next year's team, we'll reference, we'll talk about, hey, are we going to talk about this team in 10 years as being an overachiever or an underachiever? Yep. Were you a pretender? Were you a contender? So, I mean, it's up to you guys, kids, boys, to go out there and make me look what I know what the hell I'm doing and make me look good, to be able to understand in those coming years, you're making memories every single time. And we talked a little bit about rivalry games. And we went through a course with some of those schools that, they went from freshman to senior without losing to them. You'll be able to, you can say that in 10 years, hey man, I never got beat by those teams. And then when they do, because it'll happen, it's an ever revolving, roller coaster of teams being better than the other teams. They don't want that guy. They don't want to come back and say, well, I didn't get it done my junior year. We got beat by those guys. They don't want that. That's one thing that I kind of these kids understand, where they don't want to have that. They get kind of pissy with, they have to say, man, well, we didn't play that well that night. So it's always fun. It's always a roller coaster. It's always evolving. So I guess that's what coaching is all about.
Yeah.
100%, man. Let's see. I'm trying to hear. Okay. You know what I've noticed, from both of us, Coach Kovac, is our egos have went down. I mean, we don't have egos anymore.
I don't think I do. I mean, I try to really check mine at the door when it comes to some of the things that I talk to the kids about when I get up in front of parents, when I get up in front of the team, anytime that I'm out to any kind of a speaking or any time of an engagement. I mean, it's not like it was many moons ago, Chuck. I mean, it is. I try to check it at the door anymore. And sometimes I'm better at it. On some days I'm really bad at it, but, it's the kids' sport. That's, you leave it up to them to do well.
No, I just want to, this is coming from old Coach Banks, right? I'm proud of you, about, how you've handled your success and how you're sustaining and how you're creating this stuff. Now, this one's kind of, it's a tougher question, right? So, you and Coach Doherty are the only two that I personally know that have went back and they're the head coach at their respective schools. You know what I'm saying, that they graduated from that big of a school. And how hard is that?
What's not hard for me. This is a dream. I tell everybody this is the easiest thing that I could have ever done. And I think truly I'm putting it on this earth to be the football. I mean, that's what I truly, there's not another job. Chuck, I'm not very smart. I can't change the oil in my vehicle.
He's smarter than he looks. Coach Fry.
I can't, there's not a lot of things that I can do, but one thing that I this is my dream gig. I mean, I tell people the only school that I would leave Centerville for is the University of Oklahoma. That's the only one I would ever leave to go. It doesn't matter how much money you would offer. I love being the coach here at Centerville. I've wanted to do it since I can remember walking the halls at Lakeview. I always looked up to some of those older guys that were in the class of 90 and some of those other those in my sister's classes. I always looked up to those athletes and watched them, how they played. And man, I always thought going down and playing on the hill and being at football games, I thought, man, that'd be really cool to walk down that hill and lead this team and just be a coach and be able to lead the team on the field on Friday night. And it still gives me goosebumps every Friday night home game at Paul Johnson. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to be the head coach here. And there wasn't, when they made the announcement that I wasn't going to be that, there, just like you said, it rubbed a lot of people in our community probably not the way that they thought it was supposed to be. And I had to prove myself. I had to prove that I probably wasn't that guy I'm still not that same guy that I was in 1996 or 97 or that first couple of years when I was coaching, because that wouldn't have worked out very well here in town. So I had to change the way I kind of acted. I had to change the way the things that kind of how I talked, acted, was perceived in the town, in the community, for me to be successful. And I think that's I'm humbled every day to be able to go down on Friday nights at Paul Johnson.
Well, I think you're doing a great job. This is not just me because you're on my show. This is me as as a former confidant. I think I've only beat you one friggin' time on the gridiron, and each time you relatively rubbed it in a little. No, I'm just teasing, man. No, I would too, right? I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I'll tell you what, when that year they came out with playing Fort Madison, we all knew we were going to be in a dogfight because we knew what kind of program Coach Doherty runs over there, and we know what toughness and what he brings to the table in there. So we were lucky you handled us easily at home that first year, and then the next year we were tickled to get the hell out of town with a win that night. And if we never have to play another Fort Madison team, I'd just be happy.
Well, and that was kind of your lightning statement, man. That was your culture. And that pushed you up, man.
It did. Winning on the road, winning in a tough environment. We'd love the lights. I've been trying to get the lights here forever, but I don't think we'll ever be able to do that. But those flashing lights that you have over there with the kids, were going crazy about it, and it was a great environment. And I think it did. being able to win on the road with our quarterback going down and being able to withstand it, and it did kind of lead us into the right direction of good things to come for Centerville football.
All right, Ben. I feel like I've talked way too much.
No, you're good, man. I'm enjoying it. So you've mentioned a couple games specifically. I'm curious if there's any other like games that have been your favorite to ever have coached in.
Oh, that's a great one. That is a great one. That run that we had in 22 when we beat Des Moines Christian 44-41 was a crazy game, crazy, unbelievable game. And then to do it the next week and 6 days later to go to Monticello and do that, like I said, you'll always remember those two games. You almost remember the losses, I guess, the more than anything, back to the wins. I mean, anytime you can win a rivalry game and to bring a trophy and keep it in your hallway, those are always special when it comes to in football. But, it's probably those games against Williamsburg when you're that close to being able to do something that's never been done. Last year, probably the most disappointing game ever in my book was last year against Mediapolis, where it was the worst coach game probably I've ever been a part of. We were just bad. And not to take your hat off to Meepo, they were extremely well coached and extremely played hard. But we look at that film. I actually just watched it probably a month or two ago and finally broke down and watched the darn thing. And you're like, man, I was bad. What a bad. And I felt bad for the kids. I felt bad for my staff. I felt bad for the community, because you're sitting in there, you get a home playoff game. You just battled PCM to the end of the earth the week before, and then you got to come back and not to give out any excuses, but that game took a lot out of us the week before. But then you come back and we just weren't prepared. We thought we would probably be able to do well, and they weren't. It was a bad job of coaching on my part, and I felt sorry for the kids. I felt bad for the kids, and I felt bad for the community that we couldn't get the job. So to answer your question, Ben, it's probably the ones that you don't win that I look as the most that you remember, but there's always some of those games in there that are awesome.
Yeah. And, on top of that, you've coached long enough, and, I got into coaching right about the time that, the film exchange went from driving and meeting somebody to the huddle exchanges and all this kind of stuff. And so thinking back, like at what point in your career did the self-scout become a priority, or did you realize that self-scout is just as important as watching the opponent game film?
Yeah, I think it's always been that way. I think it's for ever since I've came in here, it's always been very, very important when it comes to that. I think, I always look at after the season, we always kind of self-look at what was good, what was bad. We do it week to week, but we really grab into it after the season gets over to see what kind of scouting or what we need to do as a staff. And we're always tinkering. We're always thinking of things. Like I said, I have a great bunch of guys. I got former head coaches on my staff that know it, know how to do it, know what it takes. So I think we do a really, really good job of putting out a plan every week, and then like this situation, not just week to week, but coming up with a plan to fit our roster. I mean, football in high school sports is just to the turnover. You get a graduating class, like a third of our team, we had 15 seniors leave, walk out the door. Then you're bringing in a new crop of kids, and you got to get those young kids in those JV games to get them in the right position to make sure they're successful. Then you got to put together a game plan of what are we good at? I mean, what are we not good at? What can we not do and take off the table and trim the fat on some of that stuff? So I think we really do a good job of self-scouting that way.
It's pretty easy to throw it to the fast dude.
Yes.
And
it's pretty good to have
Parker's grandson, right?
We've had some really, really good players walk through here. So I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've made us look really, really smart. We've put them in that. I'd like to think that we've put them in that position once or twice to be able to go make a play. And when it comes down to kind of the X's and O's things of make or break of what we can do and what we can't do.
What makes Centerville so special, Coach? It's obviously my boyhood home, right? It's my hometown. Because I kind of compare and contrast, right? I think all of us down here on the Highway 2 are very similar, but what makes Centerville so special as far as I understand we have a lot of low economic income kids, but we have a lot of like blue collar. Is that what you're thinking?
Sure. Yeah. It's exactly what it is. What makes it so special, one, it's obviously where you grow up and you went to school. So you're going to have a preference right out of the chute that I want Centerville to be good in everything. I want us to be good in everything. I want us to beat those rivalry schools in every single sport. So I'm always rooting for those guys to excel and all the other sports to excel. I guess to see a kid, I guess at bigger schools, maybe you don't get the kids that walk in the door that can't lift the bar, and just to see kids be able to grow into men when they come into the building as a freshman or maybe eighth, whatever. But to be around kids and that don't have the money to do some of the other things that other kids are blessed to have to go and that live in bigger cities, bigger urban areas, to have the opportunity to do that, to be able to work with kids and to see them grow, to see them get better, to see their attitudes get better. We've had a lot of kids walk in that door that were a lot like probably myself, that you thought your shit didn't stink and you thought this, that, and the other. And to be able to check that ego at the door a little bit and to make those kids, understand what it takes to be a really, really good teammate. We're really big on that. You got to be good body language, all that kind of good stuff. We do it better than some others. We do it some better with some kids and some kids it's a struggle. But, I'm just picturing those kids in my head that we've taken from, they're getting office referrals every single day. They're failing classes every single quarter. And to see them walk across the stage or walk across that field when they're seniors, it really is a blessing. And it really is cool to see those kids evolve and be great at what they do and to see them then move on. We're in year 9 of being the head coach. I mean, I've been here at Centerville to see our kids want to go play football. Like, we're sending 3 off from this class. They want to go play more football. So obviously football was good enough. It made it made it an enjoyable sport to where now they're going to have to go make it a job come June, where it's a lot more strenuous and it's a lot more stressful of being able to go play college, be a college football player. And we've had the great opportunity of sending, several kids off to go play at some of the colleges, and to be able to do that is just to be able to go watch them play college football, just seeing the kids grow, being able to go to weddings, go to see them get bigger. They always, I'll say it on the air, they always want to come down and watch Saturday football games down here because it is kind of, it gets interesting down here on Saturdays with some of the coaches that come down, and we're able to watch football all day, but they always want to come down and partake. I said, well, when you get to be 21, well, I'll let you come down and be able to some of the interesting things that happen down here on Saturdays where you're yelling at the TV. But
yep.
It's always great. I love Centerville. I love the kids. And I wouldn't, like I said, there's not another job I'd do.
100%. Now, last question. This interviews went way too freaking fast, and you and we need to golf this summer. So,
sure.
I got to throw that out there. If one of your players is listening to this right now, what do you want them to hear from you?
Well, the main thing is we love them. I mean, I think you can't ask anything more than I have every one of my kids' backs. I mean, they can always count on myself and the other coaches, where if they need anything, they can call us. They have our number, and we would be to do whatever we can do to get them out of the situation that they're in. I've had kids call me that they're in the wrong spot at the wrong time on a Saturday night, and I went and got it. I've had kids call me or let me know, come into my classroom and say, I don't know how I'm going to be eligible for the season because I'm getting this. I'm saying, we'll make it work. We'll figure out a way. I mean, I always understand. I think our kids, we always tell them right before we come down on that hill, the last thing that we say before the ball's kicked off is we love them. We love them for what they do. We love them for all the work that they put in up until that point of the kickoff, like in the summer of working your ass off and the sweat and all the stuff that comes into being a Big Red football player, because it is that we hold them to a higher standard every time. You guys will probably understand when they screw up. I field so many calls from emails from teachers saying, well, this person, just because they're a Big Red football player. And I put it out to the staff. I say, hey, if there's a kid that's not acting correctly in your classroom, I want to know about it so we can get it rectified. And I think the staff can they like that. But they know that we love them, and we're like a second. I hate using like a dad to them, but we are, at the end of the day, you can always come to me with any problems that you have, and you'll never be judged for what you do, right, wrong, or indifferent.
100%. Tonight's broadcast was brought to you by, I got to think here, Riverside Resale Company. Check her out, downtown Fort Madison. Tennille's just done amazing stuff for Dog Pound Radio, and also the Coach Show. Coach Kovac, what's your shout outs?
I got to give a shout out to my probably my daughters. Maddie's graduating. She's a senior. She's going.
How
to
in
be
the hell is she that old?
I don't know. I've been thinking here. It's really hitting me. It really is hitting me here the last week or two that she's going to be walking across the stage and going and not needing her dad for anything. But she's going to be a Cyclone. Look forward to see all the path that she takes and what she wants to be when she grows up. She's got a big year to finish. She's got a golf season to finish, and she's doing really well in that, and a softball season. So I get to coach her in both. So we got a couple things that we get to finish off here. And then my 4-year-old and Jaxie, who's upstairs, not feeling well right now. Always, I don't know if they're listening or not. Hopefully she's in bed, but she gets a kick out of her dad coaching and everything. And obviously the architect of everything around here, and that's Tara, my wife. She keeps the train on the tracks. Definitely for me and for everybody, for Maddie and Jaxie and everything. But coaching staff, I don't know if they're listening, but always want to give a shout out to them, all the hard work that them and their families put up with throughout the year. And we're getting ready to get into that busy season once summer hits. So always want to give a shout out to those guys.
Coach Fry, do you have any shout outs tonight?
Yeah, I do. My dad's out here visiting from Pennsylvania, so he's probably sitting, watching the podcast, even though he's out here visiting me. But he's out here from Pennsylvania for the rest of the week, and so excited that he's out here. But I also wanted to shout out. I went to the Fort Madison Dessert Theater last night, and I just want to give a shout out to all those kids. They did a phenomenal job in every aspect of it, and it was really well done. So huge shout out to Miss Lamb and to Mr. Stoddard and to Mr. Priest on putting that together, because it was really well done. So thank you.
They do a great job. I'm going to give a shout out to the Clay Crushers. It's the first time ever that Dog Pound Radio went out, and dude, the way these people can shoot, I'm not going to be making them mad.